Do you know that corporate taxes are at their 60-year low, while corporate profits are at their 60-year high? Here's a graph depicting correlation of increasing profits shown in red and the decreasing taxes of corporations shown in blue over 56 years. Here's another graph showing the corporate tax rate from 1947 to 2011 decreasing. While I have liberal views, I think that the problem of corporate greed is much more widespread and concerning than partisan politics. Both parties are guilty of being sold out by billionaire agendas. Look around everywhere you go. We're constantly saturated by corporate influence. Advertisements on TV, billboards, fast food chains, Amazon delivery trucks, gas stations. It's safe to say that these corporations make enormous profits. But they pay a ridiculously low amount in taxes. And why do you ask? Because billionaires have infiltrated the government and have far-reaching control. The problem of overreaching corporate power affects each and every one of us around the globe, and the gap between the rich and poor are becoming small because of this. I grew up in an educated family of both teachers. My parents have always been educated, especially in matters concerning the economy and politics. Corporations have far too much power, and our government leaders need to regulate and tax them far more. Next, I'll go into detail about the various ways that corporate powers evade social and economic responsibility, as well as their destructive qualities on the entire planet. Corporations evade taxes will be my first point. In 2019, over 60 corporations by the names of Amazon, Chevron, General Motors, Halliburton, Delta, and IBM, which totaled $79 billion in profits, paid no federal income taxes. While the rest of us are paying taxes, corporate executives are finding loopholes to get out of this. This is unfair. Corporations pay only 7% of federal income taxes. It's time that they pay their fair share. Here's a graph showing 30 of the most profitable companies in the US that paid no federal income taxes in 2018. The gray bar shows their profit, and the yellow parts show the amount that they got as a tax rebate that was given to them to reduce their tax burdens in the coming years. How can a company get a tax rebate when they paid nothing in taxes for that year? Federal taxes are used to pay for programs like Medicaid and Medicare, Social Security, and the country's defense. When programs that are designed to provide vital help from the people are being cut, people suffer greatly. This is a political cartoon depicting the ultra-wealthy sitting on top of a pile of cash with a tax cut sign, yelling, "You just want free stuff," to the middle class who are holding up signs of universal health care, affordable housing, and affordable college. Is that so much to ask? Banks like Bank of America commit foreclosure fraud, criminal offense, yet receive bailouts from the government and pay no taxes on their $4.4 billion in profit. During the financial crisis of 2018, about 49 financial institutions were fined billions of dollars for fraudulent crimes, but only one banker ever served time in prison. This is another graph showing the total sum of $8.2 trillion received in bailouts by 6 megabanks who preyed upon thousands of Americans by essentially stealing from them over 20 years. The problem lies in the lobbyists that put the politicians in power. ExxonMobil has spent over $200 million in the past 20 years and are lobbying currently to defeat climate change activism. They employ former government employees for their company and deploy them as lobbyists to further their agenda. And indeed, like this cartoon showing the 1% leading the party leaders to control the workhorses of the 99% is the reality that we're living in. As I wrap up my speech about the reasons why corporate entities should be held accountable for their wrongdoings, I will go over some main take-home points as well as give you some suggestions that you can act upon to help the situation. Corporations have far too much power and they must be regulated in order to protect the interests of the public. It's time for CEOs and corporations to pay up. It's time for corporations to pay their taxes, and it's time for CEOs to go to prison for their crimes. To reiterate, corporations evade taxes, aren't held liable for crimes, receive bailouts, and the reason for this is because they have control over our democracy. Unbridled capitalism is not sustainable or benefiting anyone but the corporations themselves. Corporations are not people, and in the words of Abraham Lincoln, as he predicted the rising of corporate abuse of power, corporations have been enthroned and an era of corruption in high places will follow, until all wealth is aggregated in a few hands and the republic is destroyed. I feel at this moment more anxiety for the safety of my country than ever before, even in the midst of war. There are things that you can do. You can contact your local congresswoman or congressman, and you can write them. You can also try to spend less money on corporate goods and services and support local businesses instead. Vote for green policies and politicians who aren't backed by billionaires. Although the presidential race seems divided among the Democrats, I would support Bernie Sanders if you want to see a revolution in dismantling corporate power. He is the only candidate not backed by any corporate interests or money. Thank you.